Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh from Nightmare on Woodsboro Lake, joined once again by my great friend here, Louie of the Clintonville Slasher and the Slasher Hour. How are you doing, my friend?
Very good. Thanks for having me, brother.
Heck yeah, I always enjoy this this once a month back and forth. It's always a fun time.
Absolutely.
This time we're getting a little festive with the movie Krampus.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Came out in 2015, directed by Michael Dougherty, I think is the name.
Yeah, Michael Dougherty.
And it features a pretty good ensemble, some relatively recognizable faces. You have Adam Scott. He's been in a lot of comedies, a lot of like TV shows. I think the one that I really enjoyed him in was like
Step Brothers.
Well, that was good too. I was thinking of what's that one where his son is like the Antichrist? It's like Little Evil or something.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about too, and I don't know the name.
I think it's Little Evil, but
okay.
Then you have like Toni Collette. She was in like Hereditary, stuff like that, and quite a few other things. I just can't. Right off the top of my tongue, I can't think of them right now.
Hereditary is the first one that comes to my mind too. Although I've never seen it, I have that movie, but I haven't seen it yet.
You know, it's funny. I haven't seen it either.
Oh, really? It's the only movie we know Toni Collette's in, and we neither one of us has seen it.
That's freaking great.
We know she's in it, though. I know she's in
it. Right. And then you have David Koechner. You know, he's been in a lot too. The one that I really think of though, like horror wise, if we're talking about horror movies, is he was in I think it was The Final Destination. It's like the fourth or fifth one. He's like their boss, and he like gets I think if I can remember correctly, he gets like this acid or like this hot cement or something poured on him, like the bridge is collapsing and like there's like this hot, and then he like falls into the ocean or like the river.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got it pretty good. And then you have, I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but MJ Anthony. He plays Max, our main kind of protagonist character in this movie.
Correct.
As well as Stefania Louie, or not Louie, LaVie Owen is his sister.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's give a real quick synopsis here. So Krampus is about this young boy Max. You could tell he has a rough go. His family, they're kind of dysfunctional, but they're not too bad, especially when you meet his uncle and his aunt, stuff like that, and the other family members. They're more put together than the rest of them. But his sister and him don't get along, and he ends up getting in this fight at the store, like during their like Christmas play thing, because someone is talking trash about Santa.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so then he ends up making like this like wish, he wants his family to like be together, more closer together and stuff, and like things to go back to the way they used to be, and ends up ripping it up. We'll go into it later why, but he ends up like ripping it up and like throwing it out to the sky, and then it ends up I guess summoning Krampus or something, because
right.
But yeah, then things go like crazy from there, like with so that's just like a quick kind of synopsis without giving too much away here yet. What were your opening thoughts going into this movie?
So my opening thoughts going to this, I had no idea what Krampus was. Back in 2015, I had no idea. I remember the original previews for this film, and my wife was like, "You got to check this out." And so when I checked it out, I was like, "This looks amazing." I didn't know what a Krampus was until I did a little research on where it came from. And some of the origins from Krampus can actually predate Christianity. Is found in the Middle Eastern, Middle Europe, mostly in Germany and Austria. They celebrate Krampus by doing a 12-day festival, it's called Krampusnacht or Krampus Night. It's very highly celebrated. So I had no idea what it was going in. However, after I've done so much research on what Krampus was going into it, I was really excited. However, this is not the first Krampus movie that was ever brought out. There were several different Krampus movies. They're all B-rated, but this movie going in, I had a really high hopes for it, and I was not disappointed. I thought it was like a darker version of like National Lampoon's like Christmas Vacation. It had the same sort of setup. It had the same setup that, a man wanted this kid wanted his family together for Christmas and holidays, and it kind of just, and everything goes wrong. And instead of it being funny, you summon, Santa Claus's shadow. And I think that I thought it was a really good way to kind of Americanize it. And I thought it was a really well set up film.
No, I knew like Krampus before I went into this movie, because I grew up, I have German on both sides of my family, and so kind of heard bits and pieces about Krampus and stuff. Like they'd tease you, like my mom and my grandmother and stuff would tease us, like saying like
when
he
you
was
were
like
little?
Yeah.
Oh
like,
man, I wish I knew about this when I was little, because I would have eaten that up. I would have messed with my brother and sister so bad. I would have messed with my brother and sister so bad. That's so awesome.
They were like telling us, he was the anti-Santa. This is what really happens to naughty kids. The coal is not the worst thing you're going to get in your stocking. Like
what a great Christmas holiday! That's so good. What a wonderful way to celebrate the holidays. You're not going to get coal. You're going to be drugged to hell and eaten.
right. But yeah, I was excited, when I saw that it was coming out. I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. I saw it later on when it came out on DVD. But yeah, I had pretty high hopes too, because there's so many like holiday horror movies, but none of them are like there's not as many big ones. Like there are some, like, you got like Black Christmas or like, Silent Night, like
Deadly Night. You got Jack Frost. You've got, Red Christmas that's another great movie. You better watch out. Another great holiday movie. But this, you're right. Krampus is something that's super dark. It takes this whole different shape that, it's presented as like a comedy almost. And I thought going into it, I saw the cast. I was like, oh, it's going to be kind of funny, like a B-rated, and it is. It's not B-rated in the sense of like it was cheesy. It was actually really dark, twisted movie. It was really dark, twisted. This is like something like Nightmare on Elm Street. Sort of a feel to it.
Yeah, and like you said, like with all the people that you see in it, a lot of them are known for their comedy roles.
Yeah.
Including like even the aunt. Her name was
Farrell.
Yeah, I've seen her in quite a bit of things. First thing that pops in my head though always is 2.5 Men.
Yep.
Being
I was
like
gonna say
the maid.
Mr. Deeds. She's in
That
Mr.
too.
Deeds. Yeah.
That too. Her when she freaking like fights Winona Ryder in the pizza parlor.
That's fucking great. I was a rodeo clown for 6 years, honey. You're gonna have to do a lot better than that.
Oh, good times. But yeah, like there was a little bit of humor in it. of course. They dashed it in there, but it wasn't like the focus
No.
of this movie at all. And I love the backstory of the grandmother in this film, and the fact that she had like seen Krampus before and lost her family because of like, I don't know, like I can't remember exactly what happened, but like then she's left with that bell as a reminder.
Right. What happened is that the Christmas spirit died. So I think what you see there at that point in time, in that point in the movie, she's like, it's like, and it's weird because it goes from like a live action movie to like claymation. So it kind of like really trips you out there as like a flashback, which is really cool. Very Tim Burton feel to it. Very like Frankenweenie kind of. Yeah. So she's like sitting there waiting for bread, and she gets bread, and it all gets torn apart, and she goes home, and her family's fighting. And I think the message there is that she's German. I think it's like probably war-torn Germany, probably somewhere around that area, and that's why the Christmas spirit has died. And I think that the reason that they put the grandmother, who spoke, which was weird to me because she spoke German, fluent German, and the Max could understand every word she said, but he couldn't speak German back to her. I don't like that. That bothers me when they do that sort of thing. If they're going to speak German, just speak German in the home. But I think that they had her there because they needed to like what Krampus was. They needed to give, where Krampus came from. They needed to tell some sort of origin story to him. And I think if they would have just completely Americanized it, they wouldn't have been able to do that. So they used, his grandmother being German, and like how she saw him. And she's actually the only one in the entire film that actually says Krampus, what he is, So I liked her character, but I think she was kind of pointless. I mean, she did have a point, but like, she didn't have a point till the middle of the story. Like there was no, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And and she called it like the way she pronounced it. She was like Krampus.
It's Krampus.
But yeah, like, I mean, it gives a little backstory. I mean, but she really wasn't like prominent in like the most of the film until like Krampus comes down in like the chimney, and like she like faces him one more time, kind of like, and like obviously she dies from that. But I guess I'm skipping ahead, so let's there's like the whole, they're like, so Max writes this letter after he comes home from this fight that they have at like, I love the opening scene too, because it's like Christmas shopping, Black Friday, chaos.
Absolute chaos.
And then there's like that whole like nativity kind of like whatever like play that they were doing, and then that fight ends up breaking out, and like he gets like in trouble for it, but he's like, well, they were like talking, they were saying Santa's not real, blah, 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 whatever, like like, okay, I mean, I understand you're trying to stand up for what you believe in, and even though like I feel like at his age, like he would have known by now that Santa isn't, most kids, like by the time you hit a certain age, your parents are like, okay, Santa's not really this magical being, there was a real like Saint Nicholas.
Santa's not real? Yeah, fucking spring that on a guy. What the fuck, man?
Well, Saint Nicholas was a real person in like Germany, delivering toys to people and to kids, but it's not the Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas is more or less the patron saint of good cheer. I think Saint Nicholas was a few different people. I don't think he's just one person. I think he was a few different people, almost like kind of like Jack the Ripper was a few different people. I know that's like a bad comparison, but you know what I mean. Like Saint Nicholas wasn't just one person. Yeah.
But yeah, so he ends up they're home for the holidays. Mom's cooking, getting ready because the family's coming by for Christmas, and
Mhm.
they're all getting prepared. Max writes this letter, to Santa, like hoping that like he can bring his family closer together.
Yeah.
And then his aunts and uncles arrive, and dear God, those two cousins, those
Oh,
freaking, oh my God. I
asshole.
was I was well, this is down the road, but I was very happy when they got taken away.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I was like, I'm like, you
I
get what
was
you
waiting
deserve.
for it. I was waiting for it. I was like, you punk ass asshole. So, and I think that the reason that this all happens is that it's a really good story, and to tell you like how the Christmas spirit dies. That people forget what this holiday season's about. It's about being nice and cheerful and goodwill towards other men, and just being nice to each other. And it shows you how bad the holidays really can get. And I think it's got a really good story to it. Um there's a really good point to that story, how the Christmas spirit dies. And then you were saying something about the opening store. I have actually a really cool fact about this. I don't know if you found this, but this movie, that opening department shot was actually shot on location on an opening day in a department store in New Zealand, and they didn't know it was a movie. So what you're seeing on it is opening day of a department store, and like the rush of people running in, that's real.
Huh,
That isn't staged at all. Yeah. They
that's
got that.
crazy.
They had no idea what was going on. They just, this brand new store opened, so all these people fucking rush in, which I think is hilarious. Because that opening
Yeah.
scene is just insanity.
Yeah. Like I would have never guessed that I felt like that was like, I mean, I thought that was super crazy. Like, cause like I've been to Black Friday and I've been to like,
Oh
I don't
God.
think I've ever, it's bad, but I don't know if I've ever seen it like as insane as those opening sequences. And
I
I would have
have
never guessed that was real.
I have one year we went Black Friday shopping, and there was TVs on sale, and I saw this old lady just get shoved over for a 25-inch TV, and it was just nuts. I mean, people are absolutely bananas, and
Yeah.
it shows you from the very jump of this film to the very end of how the Christmas spirit is gone. And it's not about Christmas anymore, and that's why Krampus comes, because he's Santa's shadow. He's Santa is the representation of goodwill towards men, and peace
Mhm.
and love and joy, where Krampus is the shadow, the opposite of that, where people are just about money and materialistic things and what they can get, and shitty
Yeah.
family. So it does have a really good point to it.
Yeah. And you really see that when like the family arrives, even more so than like how dysfunctional Max's family is. Like
Yeah.
the rest of his family is worse. Um and there's like this sequence at the dinner table when like the like the son is like chugging Mountain Dew or something, or he's like gorging himself, and like he's like, yeah, he's gonna be top football player, like
Yeah.
like dad's like super proud of him, and he's just like nasty.
Yeah.
And like the two daughters are like total tomboys to the extreme. Like
Yeah.
I think they're like almost more stereotypical than like realistic, because I think they were very over the top and
Yeah.
how tomboyish they were.
Yeah.
Um, but they end up getting a hold of Max's letter
Yeah.
and reading it out loud at the table.
And that pisses him off, and yeah, and he decides to, he lashes out at his family, and he gets upset, and he goes upstairs and tears it up and throws it into the sky. And that's when his Christmas spirit died, because this is really essentially Max's story, of
Yeah.
how because he was the only reason that Christmas actually was held up. He was really trying to get his family to be together for the holidays, be as one, and his Christmas spirit died, and nobody else cared but Max. He didn't
Yeah.
get to make his cookies that he wanted to make with his grandmother. It was just like the Christmas spirit was dying, and when he gave up, that's when Krampus came.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, he was definitely the glue because like after that, crap hits the fan.
Yeah.
And slowly but sure, like I love it too, because in that scene, like she's like the two girls get really pissed off because they're like, because they're like, he didn't want a boy, or like dad didn't want a boy, or like,
Yeah.
or like and that's why they're like these wrestling jockey boy or girls.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then things start to go bad, like it gets really bad outside, like there's like a blizzard.
Yep.
They're all kind of like stuck. And like the first thing that really happens is that sister decides she's going to go see her boyfriend.
Yep.
And that's when we get our first kind of glimpse of Krampus.
Yes.
Which was crazy because like there's like you could hear the noises and then like the jumping from roof to roof,
which is just
going on.
nuts,
Yeah,
he looks scary. That was the one thing that really drove it home for me, is how he looked, because I was expecting like a cheesy monster, and he's just like a demented hunchback Santa with hooves and long gross fingernails. He looks scary. Like if this was my first horror film I ever saw, I would shit my pants because he looks awfully fucking scary.
Right, the sunken in eyes and stuff when you finally get a look at his face.
He looks fucking terrifying.
It's like if Santa turned into a demon and just like,
and that's kind of what they wanted to do with him. They wanted you to think that look like he's Santa Claus's shadow, because it's what he really was.
Yeah,
really what he is.
Yeah. So then we have like the whole sequence of that with the daughter she ends up under a van, and then the last real scene we get of her like is her being taken essentially. And then we go back to like, the family back at home. Everybody's just trying to do their own thing. The aunt's bugging the shit out of the mom in the kitchen. She's like, why are you even here? Like, like
being a total asshole about it. Yeah.
Because she's complaining, and then like they're watching, like they're doing stuff on a tablet. They're just kind of like doing their own thing. They're not really like spending family time together. They're all just
kind of doing their own stuff.
Yeah, they're just all there. And the mom starts to get really worried about the daughter. She's like, what the heck? It's been a long time. I haven't heard from her and she hasn't come back. Like, I'm worried. So like ends up uncle and dad go out looking for them, or for her. And there's like, it's so creepy because there's like there's like no sign of life anywhere. Like all the neighbors, nobody's home, or nobody's there. The streets are empty. There's nobody out playing in the snow or doing anything. And it's really dark. And they find like this delivery vehicle, like unoccupied, like flashing lights going off in the street. And it's just like apocalyptic looking almost.
Yeah, like, and they don't really know what's going on. I think one of the things you missed is, I think that one of the very first things that was really noticed is the snowmen. As the blizzard goes on, the snowmen become more twisted. And that was always really creepy to me, is the snowmen outside, how they twisted and were different snowmen. She goes to her boyfriend's house, and like Tony Collect's like, I don't want you to go. The blizzard's outside, it's pretty crazy. And then and dad and uncle get in that truck, and they get in a Hummer, and he's like, this is totally like family vacation, Christmas vacation, because what's his name, Kevin
Kochner.
Kevin Kochner, it really is like cousin Eddie. Really is like cousin Eddie. He shows up in a shitty car. He's out of his mind, and like he's got he always like, well, we got to go look for your daughter. So he pulls out that drawer out of his Hummer, and it's got like a shotgun and a handgun, and he's like, you hold this. And yeah, I mean, it's a total, like mockery to like National Lampoon's Vacation. So yeah, and then they go check. Remember, I think they go and check like her house where her boyfriend was, and they don't find her, and they decide to go home. But like the storm keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and you're right. Like Max does point out like the snowmen too. He's like, because he like points it out to his mom, and she's like thinking like, oh, like, well, did you make it? Or like, like snowman, like he's like, I don't know where they came from, Mom. Like it's like all of a sudden just there. And yeah, they do look really twisted and like evil. Definitely no Frosty the Snowman. But yeah, then the uncle and dad come back, and they're like, something seriously wrong is going on, like, because especially after finding that delivery truck too, and it like being like in the middle of the street, lights flashing, nobody's there. Like I would be like, what the hell? Like
yeah,
like what happened to the delivery guy? So they end up holing up in the house. And then things start to get real crazy, which I could give you a play-by-play, but I don't know. What was your favorite, like, once that got to like the craziness of like, them being like barricaded in the house, did you have like a favorite creature, or like, because then we start to see some like crazy stuff going on in this whole segment.
So I think that my favorite creature may be like the Jack-in-the-Box worm that eats that. I think he eats one of the girls. One of the creatures, and I don't know who, is actually played by Seth Green. One of them is played by Seth Green, but I don't know which one it is. But all the like little twisted elves, that really added like a really crazy element when they burst in through the window and they take Conchetta Ferrell, they wrap her in fucking chains, and they yank her out of the house and they steal the baby. That is just, it's insanity. There's not a lot of like kill scenes. They do get killed, but it's not like over the top gory. It's more or less they're just being taken away.
And eaten.
And eaten. Yeah. So I mean, like, even like, and then it's basically just like one by one until they're all gone, and Max is by himself, and he wants his family back, and he throws the bell at him. At the very end of the film, when he throws the bell at him and says, I want my family back, and then like he wakes up in his bed, and like the ending of it is so good because I did not see that happening.
I loved it, like how everything was going down. Like I love like the gingerbread men, and they're like like the teddy bear, and like the freaking twisted angel coming down from like the attic or whatever, like, and like attacking the mom and everybody. And, like them, like I love it. At one point, I think the aunt has like a gun and like shoots or like one of them shoots the angel to the wall.
Mm-hmm. With the nail gun? Was it a nail gun?
It might have been the nail gun, or I don't know if it. Yeah, it might have been the nail gun. But I just love how they like were like killing off or like trying to kill these creatures, and they're like fighting for their lives against like these like things that would not be.
The gingerbread man is awesome too. He's got the sharpened candy cane, like he's coming at him with a dagger, and he shoots him with a 12 gauge. It was so great.
Right. And I did love that scene where she gets yanked out of the window by the chains. It was so humorous to watch, because like the way she gets like yanked out of the house, it just looks It looks
I'll
funny.
see you in hell. It's just pulled out of the house. It's so great. Conchetta Farrell, rest in peace. She was so funny.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot that she passed
Yeah.
this last year.
Was it last year?
I think it was this year. I think it was earlier this year, or it was like late last year. I remember it wasn't that long ago. I don't know. Every time I turn on Facebook or anything, like someone else is dead. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
But yeah, I love how like in each and every one of them is kind of picked off, and then you have like this time, or they're getting to the truck, they're trying to get away, and then like the mom and the dad are like, they end up getting sucked under the snow and like, killed essentially.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love too is, like you said, it's not over the top. It's more to your imagination. Like some of the kills, like God knows what happened under the snow. Like like how when that thing ate like the cousin and stuff, like did it like munch them down? Like were they crushed up inside? Like
I just like it opens his mouth and he's got like his jaw that kind of opens this way and he kind of like just swallows the kid. It was really cool. And it's a scary movie, it really is left up to your imagination. And it just like his twisted monsters, and then like his at the end they're like throwing all the people to hell, and when he shows up you got the two you've got like his sleigh and like his reindeer like rams, like buffalo, and they butt each other's heads. It was really cool. It was just it was a really fun it's a really imaginative movie, and I loved it. And so I have a couple of facts about Krampus, the film, and a couple of facts if you'd like to hear them.
Yeah.
So the movie was moved from November 25th to December 4th to coincide with Krampus Notch, which is Krampus Night.
Nice.
So Michael Dougherty actually said that Krampus is Santa's shadow. Krampus is a huge part of Christmas and Christmas season in Austria and Germany. Omni is his grandmother is the only person in the entire film to actually say Krampus's name in the entire movie. Mm-hmm. And actually, if there's any kids out there who think that they want to kill Krampus, there is actually one way to kill him. Krampus can be killed by a sharpened stake from an evergreen tree dipped in the dark side of blood of God himself. So if you could dip his dark blood in there and stab him in the heart. So you have to dip a stake on God's blood, dark blood. And I don't know why that's a thing, but that's the only way to kill him. So if you say, "Hey God, can I have some of your dark blood?"
Just a tiny favor.
Yeah, just a tiny skosh favor.
And so the budget for this movie was $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how much they made, but I know that they more than made their money back.
Oh yeah, they really killed it in the box office. It was really good. And actually, 90% of this film was actually shot on a soundstage.
Huh.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I really do love that final scene, or like the scene before the final scene. I love the final scene too, but I love how he's like, "Take me."
Yeah.
Take me instead. Like, he's like, Max is willing to sacrifice himself at the end, like he's like, I just wanted things to be the way they used to be. And like he ends up being tossed into the hellhole. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you said, it goes back to like all of a sudden it's Christmas Day.
Yep.
And his family's all down there and everybody's happy. And
what a present.
Yeah. And it's like everything is like perfect in the way that Max would really want it to be. Which is, it makes it even more like bittersweet when it zooms out and it's a snow globe.
Yeah.
In Krampus's lair. Yeah.
And he really did get his wish because Krampus would have left him alive. He would have left him alive and threw him the Christmas bell and said, this is just a reminder that when the Christmas spirit dies, I will come. And he would have left him completely alone. But he wished, take me instead. Well, okay. So he throws him in there, and he did get his Christmas wish. He got togetherness with his family forever, trapped in a snow globe in Krampus's lair.
Right.
That sucks.
Right. And it's like, that's just like a figment, kind of like, it's not, I don't like, God knows if it's real or not. Like
Right.
whether it's like they've all been like in the snow globe, things are just like brainwashed, and it's like this tiny world, like where it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy, because you're just like, well, what happens now? Like, what happens after Christmas? They're in this snow globe, and he's just living like the perfect Christmas day. But is it going to be on repeat? Like, is there anything beyond their house? Like, what is it? What's going to happen in that snow globe after Christmas? Like,
well, I'll tell you what happens. So Krampus actually hosts a New Year's Rockin' Eve with Dick Clark, and they drop the ball together, and he just drops the snow globes one by one off the top of his shelves. So
there you go. I have some closure now.
yeah. Him and Dick Clark do New Year's Rockin' Eve together. They drop the ball, and it's just him dropping snow globes.
Jeez. But yeah, I loved it. I like, overall, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the twist. The twist got me. I was like, oh shit, like what?
Yeah, the twist got me too, man. It was a perfect ending to an imaginative film, and like everything was left up to imagination, and then you were left with this ending that wasn't like too out of the ordinary, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was something that you could, in the realm of like, wow, what you're right, like what happens now, and I think it's really good. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, because like you get this twist, and then you get a twist on top of a twist, because the first twist is, like, oh, was it all like a dream? Like,
Yeah.
Was this like none of this happened, or like did it just like reset? And then all of a sudden you're like, no, this can't be real. Like, like part of you is thinking like, no, there's no way. And then all of a sudden you're hit with a second twist. So it's like back to back.
Yeah.
So yeah, great movie. Always watch it every year. So if you were to rank this movie, so I have a new rank scale.
Oh, okay.
So now it's called the wound scale. And so we have like from like, oh, just a scratch or like a nick to like lost, or like a lost limb. Oh God, I'm trying to remember now. It's so new. That I've only done this in one video.
We got a bleeder.
We've got a bleeder is like the worst.
Yeah.
And like I think lost limb is like second to worst. Like,
okay.
And then you got Nick, you got like, I don't know, bleeding out kind of thing. Like if you were to rank this, how big of a wound do you think this movie delivered?
I think a lost limb for me. I think definitely a lost limb. I think the kill scenes were imaginative. They weren't over the top gory, but they were really good. It was psychologically scary, so definitely a lost limb.
Okay. Oh yeah, it was called, severed limb, but yes.
Severed limb. Yes.
Yes. So like I said, I've only done this ranking scale on one video, so I'm still trying to remember, but yeah, it's definitely really high up there.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think I'd either have to give it a severed limb, or it's almost between a severed limb and fatality for me. Like,
okay.
we got a, oh no, sorry. Jeez, I'm messing this up, man. We got severed limb, we've got a bleeder, and then we got fatality. Like,
okay.
So then fatality is the highest.
Okay, then definitely we got a bleeder.
Okay. Yes, we definitely, I agree. I think it's definitely on the verge of like, we got a bleeder to almost like bleeding out to a fatality for me.
Yeah.
there's quarrels I have with like little things, of course. Like I feel like every movie you watch, most of them you're gonna have a nitpick. There's always something that
CGI in this one for me. The gingerbread man, I love that scene, but the CGI a little bit too over the top at times. They really could have drove it home with the practical effects because they were doing such a good job, and they had to throw the CGI in there, and it was really unnecessary for me. I'm a big stickler about CGI though. Like, I mean, if you're gonna do a movie, stick to practical effects, because you stuck to practical effects almost through the entire thing. You made Krampus look awesome. You know, I don't care if you saw it shot on a soundstage. Obviously, you're gonna have to do that. You have to use some CGI, but like you did it with the gingerbread man. It was just a little too over the top. The flying thing that was on Tony Collette's head, you could have done without that. You could have had one of the guys grab her or something. You could have stuck with realistic things instead of like over the top CGI. The claymation thing, though, on the other hand, is actually really cool. I love how that's a flashback and it's really, really cool to like, it's almost like a gift for your eyes, I guess. You know, it's just a cool thing. I think they went too far with the CGI for me.
Yeah, you definitely have a point. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, like the Jack in the Box is like practical, and like you know, Krampus is practical, the elves are practical, like everything else was very like real. And then like you have like these gingerbread are very off-putting because you could tell that they're not realistic. So it's like they could have done better. I know they could have managed something. I mean, look at all these movies with dolls and stuff that they use practical effects, like Chucky and stuff like that. They can do great things with practical effects. I bet you they could have figured out a way to do the gingerbread man a little bit better, or blend it, or even sometimes they blend CGI with practical and make it could be more realistic. So I think they could have done better. And then like you said before too, I think that they could have done more with the grandmother. And I didn't even really, you know, you pointed out some good things. I did not even pay attention to the fact that Max could understand her but never spoke German to her.
Yeah, like, that bothers me a lot.
Which, I mean, I understand she might understand English, but then you never really have her speak English, like, but she understands it. Like, there's just some holes there that could have been filled.
Exactly. Like he could have spoke, because he would speak perfect English to her, and he would answer in German. Where realistically, if she was speaking German, he would speak German back to her. If they would have done that, that wouldn't have. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it doesn't make sense. You know, right? You're right. Every movie I ever watched, I nitpick the shit out of it. But like the CGI, the grandma, some of the acting, some of the lines were a little too cheesy. There, I know they had to have some comical relief, but they're really killing it with the story, and they're really killing it with the practical effects, and the way Krampus looks is so good. And I'm so glad that they didn't CGI him, because that would have ruined this movie for me if they would have CGI him at all.
Yeah, and like I said, the ending too, just like they stuck the landing on the ending, because
you really did.
Because like you didn't know what to expect after he threw him into that hole, like into hell, like. You didn't know what was going to happen next. If that was just it, like, okay, take me, boom, end of story, like, you know. And then to surprise you and make you think that there's possibly a happy ending, which is kind of still a happy ending, even though we know what's going on the outside. At least Max gets to feel the warmth of his family one last time, or like just that moment that he so craved. Like just being able to feel that again. So that was like, but yeah, then you see the fact that it's in a snow globe, and you're just like, oh shit, like that's not real.
You're trapped there forever.
Yeah.
So I guess he gets his Christmas wish. He gets to feel the warmth of his family for eternity.
For eternity. Oh boy. I know. Then he starts to like wonder, like, why is it Christmas every day? Or like, why can't I leave my house? Why is there this invisible wall?
Oh, maybe he can leave his house, because you know, like it's the entire street, isn't it? That was in the snow globe, or is it just his house?
I think he saw outside, so there is like an extent. Like, I don't know if it's like the whole world, but it's like definitely his neighborhood. Like,
Oh yeah, you can still leave the house. I don't think anybody else is around, but you can still leave your house.
yeah, go raid somebody else's pantry for the
Right.
day. Go
Just
bounce on
make
their
sure if you're
bed.
gonna stick me in a snow globe, make sure there's a liquor store close by so I can go get some booze. So
Yeah, right. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad we got to talk about it.
absolutely, man.
Can't wait for to see what we plan next for next month.
Wow, yes.
Always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys got some fun plans going on for Christmas. It's only 10 days away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gonna just hang out with the family.
I don't really know what's going on. I think we're going someplace. I don't ever know. Normally what I do for Christmas Eve is we get a platter, watch Christmas movies, get really hammered. The kids go to bed early, and I do a double matinee. Me and my wife do a double matinee. We do Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then Krampus, and then lay out our Christmas presents. So that's always my go-to. And then Christmas morning we get up and open presents and go out to breakfast, and then come home and eat ham dinner until we're too fat.
Nice. Sounds like a good time. Usually we go to my mother-in-law's Christmas Eve to be with like the cousins and stuff like that, and then we come home and we usually wind down with like Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
Ooh.
And also the Polar Express, because that's my wife's favorite.
Another good movie.
And then we just kind of I'm usually up really late, so
Yeah.
I'll like watch something on my phone or something, like, but and then we wake up and we do Christmas at home, like and then we go to my mother-in-law's again, but we go for like just like a more personal Christmas with like usually like her sister, her brother, and like stuff like that. My family kind of lives far away, and with our weather out here, it's just we can't really get down there most of the time. Usually we'll go down, most of the time we'll go down like around New Year's. If we can manage it. Like we've done that a lot in the past. We'll go down there for New Year's and kind of celebrate Christmas a little bit with them then, give them their presents and hang out and stuff. So yeah, pretty simple Christmas.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think the biggest Christmas present this year is that we're pregnant, and so close, man.
Babies. Next Christmas you get to play Santa Claus.
Right.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Or if she's a naughty baby, you can just, play Krampus and eat her.
Stuff her in my knapsack.
Yeah,
Whip her with, or like the two I saw that Krampus had like these reed like whips.
Yeah,
like,
they're birch tree branches.
Yeah.
Something about evergreen. It's really big. I think because a Christmas tree is normally evergreen. And so like evergreen, it has something to do with it. I'm not really sure. But like he beats them with birch branches, like whips them with them, and then drags them to the underworld to eat them.
Right. Just don't be naughty, kids. Then the kids are watching this video.
Krampus will come for you.
Right. Santa may not be real, but Krampus is.
Yeah. See, I leave a note from Santa Claus and Krampus at my house all the time, except Krampus is covered in blood.
Of your firstborn. No.
I've always wanted to hire somebody who had like a horse and a sleigh, because it does we get a lot of snow here, but to dress up like Krampus and like just drag one of my middle son, who doesn't believe a word I say. I just want somebody to dress up like Krampus, pull him out of his bed, throw him in a burlap sack, drag him out of the house while we try to run and scream low, wait, because then he'll believe me. and then throw him in there, and then like bring him back and be like, I had to pay him, or I had to tell Santa Claus, he talked you out of it. Talked out of Krampus out of eating you. Maybe he'd believe me then.
Right. That's funny because like as a kid, my stepdad, it wasn't Krampus, but he like hid under my bed. And one time I stepped off my bed and he like literally ripped my legs out from under me. I hit the floor and he like pulled me under the bed like super fast. So like I was scared, crapless. From then on, I was just like, every time I'd get out of bed, I'd like take a running jump off my bed towards the door.
Yeah, right.
Just to try to like be as far away from the bed as possible. But thankfully I got over that. But yeah, dude, that'll put the fear in him. Like just have him drugged down the snowy street down.
Yeah. No, like because at first you probably think it was me doing it, but if I'm like running down the stairs at him, wait, stop, as dragging him out of the house, that would be so funny. Christmas. I'll make a really good Christmas card. Really good Christmas card.
Take like your camera phone and just put it in your pocket and just like record that too.
I know, it'd be so good. It'd be so funny. I am such a terrible person,
dude.
Drag your son. I'm really not that bad of a person. I'm just, it's just funny to scare your children.
Right. I'd pay to see that. I'd pay to see it. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
Yes.
I hope you have a good rest of your day, man. If you haven't
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good one. Yes.
Yeah. If you guys haven't checked out Louie's channel before, head on over. I'll have a few links below. The Clintonville Slasher, he does Slasher Hour. He's got a lot of cool stuff. Frankenhooker is his band. If you haven't checked them out too. It's got some music up too. We'll have some links to like his Facebook and Instagram as well. But definitely don't sleep on him. It's got some good stuff. Go check it out. And for all you viewers out there, as always, keep killing it out there, my friends. And just remember, don't get caught.
Stay horror.
Stay horror.
Yeah.